Okay, so in the class on Tuesday, first week back term 4, we made some containers like a header, nav, section and footer container, and then we went into the custom style sheet and gave them a background and a height, each of them. So we ended up with this, you can see here, a green header, navigation, a grey section and a green footer. So we came up with this page layout, like a structure where we can put content into, and with different colors so we can see each area. We can change the colors later and all sorts of stuff, but just giving them a color so you can see the sizes and what they look like before you put content in. That's why I give it a color. All right, so that's the styling. Now, if we view this in a full page, so what it looks like as an actual web page, you always have to make sure you're not in the CSS, that you're actually in the HTML when you view it. Okay, so I'll do that again. Full screen view of the page, HTML page, and you'll see that right across, just try to put that out of the way a little bit. Right across, we've got the footer, the section area we can put pictures and text and videos, whatever, navigation for buttons, and a header for pictures and titles and stuff. So that's a basic page layout. Now, if I wanted it not to go right across the page like this, and I wanted it sort of to be centered a little bit, maybe I want to make it for a mobile phone so it's not so big. I have to give these a width, all of them a width individual, or I can put all of them inside one container and just change the width for the container. So at the moment they're all like this, and I could give them all the same width so they'll all be the same size, and then center them all individually, or I can make a container and that goes around. So I'm going to just zoom in for a second, and what I'll do is I'm going to make a container footer section. I'm going to make one called div, give it an ID. That means I can style it based on its name, not div. Div means division tag. It means you can divide the page up into boxes or rectangles. That's what division means. All these tags are containers, but they've got actual names. Like this works exactly the same as a div, but it's just called header. So div's just very generic, okay? It's very generic, can be used for any sort of thing. So see how I've got my div tag with an ID, and it goes all the way around. So the div goes around everything, inside the body of course, and now everything's inside. If I resize the div and center it, all the containers will be resized automatically and centered. So that speeds up having to resize and center all of them. Okay, so let's go back into custom styles, and I'll show you how we can target this ID. Instead of writing the word div, we're going to target that ID. Okay, so how it's done is you start with a hashtag. You can actually write the name of the container div if you wanted to, but it's not necessary. So hashtag is for the ID, and then the name of the ID. If you were using, for instance, I'll just go back so you can learn this, it's quite interesting. If I called it a class instead, class, that means I could use this for other things. I could say, let's make this one a class as well, and I'll use the same name. So I can use this, so I could use class, and that means the div and the section will be styled. If I use the name that, they'll be styled the same. Show you what I mean. So see how I'm using class? It means I can reuse the word. So if I go into custom styles, I would go like this, dot container. If I was using class, I would do that. Okay, so if it's class, it's a dot, and then that. But good thing about class is you can use it in multiple places. Okay, But since I'm using ID, I use a hash. So let's go back into the demo page. Because I don't want to use it multiple places, I'm not going to use class. Class is good if you want to style things multiple, the same. I'm going to use ID. ID means you can't use that word there anywhere else. Can't use it. It's got to be just only for that, and nothing else can have that ID. So if I go back into the styles, you'll see that I've got a hash, and that means it's an ID. Okay, anyway, so that's good. We can target things individually, okay, with an ID. Give it a width, and you can do pixels or percentages, and the idea is to auto the margins on the side. If you're doing margins, you can do this, you see. You can go margin hash left, and then auto. You could do that, and then you go margin right auto, and that would center it. If you do it clockwise, you use just margin. You can go top, right, bottom, left. It doesn't really like these ones. It's saying it's not necessary. So you could just put auto and just once, or you could go margin right auto. There's a lot of ways to do it, but it doesn't seem to like the zeros. Okay, but anyway, this will work. Margin means we can center it on the page. It'll auto size. This just says 80% of the size of the page go across, or I could put 700 pixels. Okay, I could change that to pixels or just a percentage. That makes it sort of change. So let's go, I'll just save that for a sec. Let's have a look at what it looks like when I actually put the container right round, so you can see it in action. You can see it in action. You can see it's actually not going right across. It's 80%. So this is 80%, but if I go full screen, you'll be able to see it doesn't go all the way across. It's got a gap, so it's 80% of the size. And now we can put content inside this. This is how you can actually make a container to center your content. You can do that. You could have containers. You could do the same thing with containers within a container by centering the containers and autoing them and things like that as well. Just think the same idea where I put all these containers inside this one container. I could also have containers in here which I auto and organize. So anyway, you can get quite creative if you think it through. Anyway, that's probably enough for you for now. So we'll go back to the code, make sure you understand. I've put one container. All these containers are inside that one. So when I gave it a width, it now no longer goes right across the whole page. So now that means it doesn't go all across the whole page. And if I center it by putting auto on the sides, it's going to be in the middle of the page. If I didn't have this part, it would be on the left-hand side of the page, and 40% on one side would be not there, or 20% on one side would not be there. Anyway, that is how you do it.